All right. It's that time again. So, for my regular listeners, viewers, watchers, welcome back. And of course, if you happen to be watching this or listening to this audio or video pod, as I'm calling it for the time being, welcome. And of course, before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier self hypnosis coach and your personal guide. So, let's jump into today's pod. And I can definitely tell you it's a very special topic, very close to my heart. And as you probably may or may not recognize it in let me just look at the final headline that was chosen for this. Right. So the line is become a better digital coach, right? And learn how to help your clients achieve their goals. Now, of course, this was just a title that obviously has been researched, and today now more and more AI is helping us along the way. So while that is the hook to grab your attention, especially as a digital coach, for you to say, okay, maybe this topic is something close to my heart, or I want to know more about this. That was just to get your attention. And now that you're here, I really want to focus on today's pod being in honor of you, in service of you, and in some ways to help you in your journey to make this correction. Because if you're somebody who's struggling to value yourself, now this value could be in your market value, meaning you either believe you're not good enough or you're too afraid to ask for what you're truly worth, right? Or you've made several experiments and somehow whatever price point you try, whether it's in a webinar, whether it's in your one-to-one coaching, the kind of feedback that you get gives you a feeling that, okay, maybe maybe people are not ready for me, right? So maybe if this is something that you're grappling with, like I said, this is in service of you, this is in honor of you, because as a digital coach, you're doing something truly life-changing. And I've been very blessed to have similar experiences over the years. In fact, just earlier this evening, meaning, yeah, let me just say it because it was in the evening. It doesn't matter what time you're listening to this, but at the time of recording this, earlier this evening, I was having this conversation with my mom, and I was just telling her, I mean, she's been a school teacher for literally for decades, I think more than 30 years. And I was just telling her, that the kind of work that we do, she did, that we do as coaches. I mean, today we call ourselves coaches, but in essence, we are teachers. We are people who are holding space for others who are struggling in their lives, right? Who feel like they're almost there, but not just yet. And this state that our customers, existing students, or future customers and students, whatever this state is that they're in, our purpose is to hold this space so that they can reorganize, so that they can understand that it's okay if they kind of felt lost along the way, but we are here to help them assimilate and bring themselves back together so that they can go back into the world and do the things that they're meant to do, whether it's their purpose, whether it's their profession, their vocation, whatever it is, right? So you know my dear listener, viewer, watcher, as you're thinking about your community, your students, your clients, I just want you to keep a couple of things in mind. Hopefully this will make you feel that you're on the right track, and remind you that the day you decided to become a digital coach, let me put it this way, the day you decided to become a coach, and then of course with the world being what it is post 2020, digital, meaning digital and coaching, have kind of become synonymous now. And it's a great way to build a business in the short run. In the long run, well, the world is only shifting literally every week, every month, and we've not even yet tapped into the power of what AI, what virtual reality, mixed reality, all of these things that are going to change the way that we consume not only information but the way we seek out help, whether that is mental health or whether that is our clients wanting to live better lives. And so we get to help them, we get to hold that space while they get to change their lives. So I want to let you know, I want to remind you that what you're doing truly is designed to be at one level, you are the nurturer. That means you are here to help them on their journey. And for me, when I work with my clients, my students who are digital coaches, my focus is to help them remember why they even got into this in the first place, right? And the more you are able to recognize that, yeah, I'm a digital coach because, and fill in the blank, right? Nurturing is definitely going to be one part of it. So in order to be a good nurturer, it's important also that you receive nurturing, right? That's one of the reasons why after so many years, like now close to almost 2 decades, I finally sort of came full circle and I realized that having a community is something that is absolutely necessary. So when you have a community, that is when you're able to hold that space. So I have a community of digital coaches, so I'm able to hold space for them. Just like how you as a digital coach, my intention for you, if you aren't already doing it, is to start aspiring to have a community, right? And when you do, then you'll start to find yourself thinking about different ways in which you can make the lives of this collective, your collective, be better. So that's the first thing to consider, right? That is, remember that you are a nurturer, which also means that you need nurturing so that you can continue to be on this journey. That's the first thing to consider. The second thing to consider is being a digital coach by definition means that you are driven by passion, maybe in the initial phase, maybe somewhere in the middle. It doesn't matter which phase you're in. That means, let's say, and this is something that I have recognized, that uh, having been around, even if I look at, my journey of digital coaching, meaning learning, let me phrase that again. My journey of digital marketing, meaning learning how digital marketing works, what is digital marketing, it officially began in 2016. So at the time of recording, it's about 7 years of being around, of seeing how the landscape has been changing, right? And obviously, when I'm saying 2016, I'm talking about the age of Skype, way before Zoom became like the equivalent of a Cadbury's or a Bournvita. So I'm just reminding you that having been here, done all of this, learned all of these different philosophies, techniques, tools, right? So basically tools, technology, and mentors, right? So I've had several mentors over the years, but the one thing I can tell you is that as a digital coach, it's so important that you are constantly feeding into your passion, right? Because this work that we're doing, maybe initially you're driven by money, as in money is what draws you in, is like, okay, I can earn a living and I can do this because I enjoy it, and let me just focus on making money. But you'll realize eventually, sooner than later, that once you kind of hit a threshold, then the power of money starts to loosen. So making sure that you're able to tap into your passion, into your purpose, is what fuels you along the way, right? So just a reminder here, please treat this as a reminder. If you needed to hear this, this is me reminding you that it's important to find and refine that passion, right? That reminder of, okay, why am I so, what is my purpose? Meaning, why am I doing this? And how do I make sure that I still stay really, really passionate? I'll give you an example, right? So today I got um, a notification from Facebook saying that it's been, I think, 197 days. Let me just check my notes. I think it's been, give me a moment. This is what makes these lives so much fun. Yeah, it's been, as of today, it's been 196 days of uh, daily posting. And I don't mean just some comments or something. It's like pretty much about 80 to, I should say about 80 to 90% are doing lives, and pretty much like every single day, right? I know since Jan, I've been doing it every single day. So it's like Jan, Feb, March, April, May, June. That's 6 months of doing a daily life, right? Why am I reminding you about this? Why am I telling you about this? So let me say this again. Why I'm telling you about this is just to remind you that once you're able to tap into why you're doing what you're doing, therefore purpose, and you're able to recognize that what you're doing is truly making that difference, and that when you're showing up every day, it's just tapping into this passion for what you do. That is what makes the difference in the long term. I'll explain it further a little bit more for you, and as a reminder to me as well, right? So like I said, I've been doing lives now for more than 6 months, every single day, right? Doesn't matter whether I was traveling, doesn't matter whether I was, in my own home, whether I was in, a friend's place, whether my lighting was good or not, didn't matter. I made it a point to record a live every single day. In the initial phase, I used to do lives which were like an hour, hour and a half. Then eventually I kind of started to get into a pattern. So it was like about 30 minutes. Nowadays, typically these lives are about 15 minutes, right? Typically. The one thing I can tell you amongst many is that making this my purpose, that every day I will record this content, no matter how late it is, before I sleep. That was all that I needed to literally like formalize and cement this intention, right? And sure, there have been days where it looks like, and sometimes I don't know, when I see that little bob on the top left corner, I don't know how many people are watching. Some days, maybe at least when it was live, nobody watched. But that's not why I'm doing it, right? So the more you show up and the more you're creating, so it's not so much as being a content creator, but it's like the more you're doing this with the intention of helping your audience, not only now, but in the future. Because maybe today you have like 5, 10, 20 people who are your audience, right? But you're doing this and you're doing it consistently so that tomorrow, when obviously you have more people that are drawn to your energy, your message, your mission, right? They want to help you. They want to help themselves. They want to learn from you. They want to be coached by you, right? Because that's, remember, as health, wealth, you could be a health coach, wealth coach, relationship coach, spirituality coach, or even a purpose coach, right? Like if you remember, one of my previous avatars was purely just looking only at purpose, right? But here's the thing. Whatever be your driver, like, okay, I'm this coach, and therefore I'm working with, XYZ people who are drawn to this topic. What's most important is that as people start to get your message, as your message starts to get clearer, you will start to attract more people. And once they get your flavor, once they get your feel, they're going to just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. Think about it. On YouTube, for example, the moment you find some content, or more importantly, you find some content by a creator and you like their style, you like their way of speaking, and it's literally you watching their videos, so pretty much they're talking to you. More often than not, we just do like a binge, isn't it? We just go deeper and deeper, and we go further and further back to the content that they've created. This is no different, right? So when you're creating content, it is not with the intention of today or tomorrow. You're doing it so that even a year, 2 years, 3 years, and assuming obviously that the platform still exists, people will consume everything that you've made because they want to. So there's something called a, let me see if I'm getting the phrase right. It's called a parasocial. Let me get the exact word as well. Okay. Yeah, it's called a parasocial. Uh, yes. So you basically are getting into a parasocial relationship, meaning people will start to get into a parasocial, parasocial relationship with you, just as if you've already been watching my content now for some time. Somewhere it's like you feel, hey, I know this guy a little bit. I like how he speaks. I like what he says. He really understands me, right? Like he's a good guy, right? I like how he speaks. I like what he has to say. I think he really cares for me. That's why he keeps creating this content. Our minds somewhere start to form this relationship. And similarly, as a digital coach, you'll find that people will start to have to build that connection with you. So obviously, the more you're able to tap into this, this passion that you have, this reminder of like, what's my purpose, and more importantly, why am I doing this? Why am I creating this content? Right? That is what builds a really, really strong bond, and especially today more than ever before, where we're pretty much on our devices through the entire day. This is where it works to our advantage, because now we're putting something out there that truly is of value to them, right? So, like I said, just a reminder that the more you tap into your passion and your purpose, that's going to help you stay in fact, earlier today, I was talking to a friend of mine who I've known since 2019, and we were accountability partners even back then. And this is what I was telling her as well. I said, it doesn't matter how many hits or misses, like, I won't call it success or failure. It's like hits or misses. Like, okay, I had an intention, I did a workshop, did or didn't work. I created this, did or didn't work, doesn't matter. But we are still here, and we are still working with our clients. There may be few or there may be many. That's besides the point. The main thing is that we are still here doing the work. It's a different thing that we are figuring out what is our secret sauce, so that literally all you have to do is open up the shutters and people are like pouring in, right? And because it is digital today, we don't even have to anymore worry about, like in the old days where you do shutter down and shutter back up. Today, it's literally like your shop, your store is open 24/7. So in order to be able to get to a point where you find that mix, where you find that connect, that is let's look at it like this, that will anyway happen. But even before that happens, even before that formula clicks, as long as you keep showing up, as long as you keep this passion alive, right? And this purpose, like making it, not just making it strong, but reminding yourself, yes, this is why I'm doing it. That is what is your rocket fuel, right? And remember, rocket fuel is only till you get beyond a certain stratosphere or whatever. It's too complicated for me as a keyword to figure out exactly what it is. But basically, it's like you get to a certain point, and then you don't need rocket fuel, right? So keep that in mind. Let me give you one more piece before we wrap today, okay? And yeah, if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, please do like and subscribe. Share this with your community, share this with your fellow coaches. If you happen to be watching this here in my private group on Facebook, which is called the Self-Hypnosis Mastermind, definitely leave me a comment. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat box, the comment box. If you need help, if you want me to help you in any way, just send me a message, okay? All right, so let's go to one last point. Okay, we'll look at this. Let's see what comes of it, right? So if you've ever wondered, okay, why am I actually doing this coaching stuff, right? I could be doing any number of other things, but why am I doing this? Especially in an Indian context where we are still very, very, very ahead of, it's very, very early days, and we're very, very ahead of the curve at this point. Meaning, if you think of the number of people that live in our country, and you think of the number of people that are even vaguely aware of coaching, it's barely like, like a blip, meaning it's barely any percentage. I don't even know. Maybe that's a good prompt for me to actually figure out, like, in today's day and age, how many people actually are aware of coaching, how many people actually seek coaching, how many people actually show up and do the coaching, right? What I'm implying here is that over the next 3 to 5 years, things will change. And by that, I mean, when there are more people that are warming up to what we're doing, we'll anyway be ready, right? So just a reminder that why, as I said, the question was, why do we do this work, right? Why do we help people? Why do we do sessions that could be an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours even sometimes, right? Like in my coaching, I don't charge or go by work which is, okay, I do 1 hour sessions or 2 hour sessions. No, it's whatever the client needs. So on a day, maybe the client only needs 10 minutes. On a day, the client only needs, an hour, sometimes 2 hours, right? But on days when the client needs more time, I'm there for them. So what I'm implying here is, why is it that we do this work? So if you think about it, even in your own business, even in the work that you do, the reason why we do this is because we provide something very, very, very valuable. Okay. If you happen to be watching this, this is just me getting your attention. Type in the chat box. What do you actually think is the reason? Like, why, what is it that we're actually doing? Right? Why is it that the people that do reach out to us, could be our students, could be our clients, why are they actually reaching out to us? Right? If you ever ask yourself this question, and I'll give you the secret answer, right? It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6-letter word. Yeah, and if you happen to have reached this point and actually heard the audio podcast, video podcast, or Facebook Live, or the recording, here's the answer. What we provide clients and students is clarity. Okay, we provide them clarity, and we do it in a way, like I used the expression before, which is holding space. So if you're anything like me, if you're anybody like me, you know what I mean by that, like holding space. Like we're holding space for people with the intention of providing them clarity. And the more we are able to provide them clarity, the brighter they're able to have a path illuminated for themselves, which of course, when they find it, when they feel that they have found their path, they're almost 75% on their way, meaning they've already sorted it out, they've already figured it out, right? And by holding that space, they're able to go and test out the path, and there'll be some, they'll be able to move to a certain extent, then face a stumbling block, and we are there by their side to help them. Because that's what I do with digital coaches who feel like, okay, all this is great, but when it comes to asking for money, I can't. When it comes to valuing myself, I can't, right? When it comes to my relationship with money, I just can't do that, right? And this is where, when you actually, what I do with them is lead them back to their earliest points in their life, where they just ended up having I'll use the word right now in quotes, but it's like a bad relationship with, it could be money, it could be, with authority, right? With trust, but most of all, it's with love, right? So think about it. From the earliest memory, if you have been unable to love yourself, you know where I'm going with this, right? It starts to flow into so many other areas, pretty much all the other areas in your life, right? And when that happens, eventually, when you are wanting to provide a service, which in this case is digital coaching, it's difficult to ask for money because money represents something, does it not? Right? So for me, I've been very blessed to have, of course, my journey from 2007 started with NLP or neuro linguistic programming. And then eventually I got to a point where I discovered my muse, which is also the birthstone of NLP, which is hypnosis. So for me, I started to learn hypnosis and went deeper and deeper. And today I'm at a point where all these years of learning have amalgamated where I know that when I see a client, I know that their life is going to be changed literally for the rest of their lives. And for the ones that stay the course, they're already seeing the results. For the ones that come in and try, I know it has at least moved them forward, right? So having said and done all of this, I also realized that it's important that it's not only me doing it for them. It's important that they learn how to do it themselves, right? How they learn to become aware of their language, the words that they're using, right? So these are the things that I teach them. So that's why the core of what I do, remember, what did I say? Hi, my name is Rahul George, India's premier self-hypnosis coach. The key word here is self-hypnosis. Why? Because I've realized I want to make sure that you learn a skill or you learn a whole skill set that literally for the rest of your life, you can keep practicing, right? It doesn't matter whether you're into, like I said, you could be into health coaching, wealth coaching, relationship coaching, spirituality coaching, or purpose coaching. It doesn't matter. But when you start to learn self-hypnosis, you will automatically have the tools that you need to be able to build really, really powerful and strong beliefs about you with respect to money, with respect to people, right? And more importantly, with respect to yourself. Yeah. So I want to thank you once again. Wow, it's been a good session. I feel good. To me, that's one of the hallmarks I started to recognize, that when I really feel it, I know that this has gone, this has literally come from someplace more here than here for me, which means it's come through me from here rather than from here. And that in itself is a sign that things are changing, right? Because if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, I can guarantee you this, after this, even if you try, these words will somewhere, shuttle around in your mind and you'll be like, yeah, you know what? Why not learn this, right? And that's one of the reasons what I have also done is I have created so at this point of the recording, I do a 1 hour session between 11 and 12 on Saturday, and it's free. My intention is that you come, you learn about self-hypnosis, you get to know a little bit about me, but more importantly, you get to experience self-hypnosis in that short 60-minute span. And if this is something that connects with you at this point on your journey as a digital coach, I've made the journey forward very simple, right? You get an opportunity to test out. It's like, when you go to a gym, when you go to a yoga studio, you want to learn any skill, it's important to be able to try it out, to have a trial of it. So I have created a trial membership for 1 month. At this point of recording, it's for 1 month. So come, experience the 60 minutes. And if you feel you want to go further, right, ask me about it. Again, because we're recording this digitally, I don't want to confuse you depending on when you're listening to this from a price point of view. But otherwise, keeping it very simple at this point, I'll say it like this. When you're listening to this, so at this point of the recording, it is 1,000 rupees to experience a trial membership for 1 month, right? But before we go into that, come and experience that 60 minutes, right? You'll get a chance to meet me live. You can ask me questions, right? You get to experience self-hypnosis. And at the end of it, you'll definitely feel better. I can promise you that. In 60 minutes, you will feel more relaxed. You'll feel more at ease. You'll feel happy that you chose to become a digital coach. It'll be a reminder also. And if you feel this is the time for you to really focus on the key words here being to maximize your market value, then I'll be more than happy to be your guide. Okay. So with that, I'm going to wrap this pod. Thank you once again for those of you who've been watching live. I can see, at least on my second screen, I can see there are 2 people here. So thank you, 2 people, whoever you may be. I will know after the live who you are. But thank you so much for watching. And of course, I will be back. Like I said, this is a daily live, a daily pod. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. And keep doing what you're doing. As I told you at the beginning, I remind you again now, you're really being of service, right? And it's important that you're honored for what you're doing, right? And third, but in no way the least, if you feel it's time for you to re-engineer, reframe your way of looking at yourself in the context of money, in the context of the work that you're doing, right? Now is the time to begin, right? Because remember, the world is waiting for you. Yeah. So with that, I shall say tata bye bye and see you in the next one. And as always, remember to live with purpose. See you then. Tata bye bye and see you in the next one.